Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 27, Girl Talk with Sandra. Okay, listen, you all know her and love her from the last time she was on, but I have to tell you this funny story, Sandra, because last time you were on, I didn't even introduce you because I know you. You're my friend. And we just
Did you
started.
forget to say who I was?
I didn't say who you were. This is kept talking. And so I had to put it somewhere or I had to redo my intro or something like that because this is my friend Sandra, and I always call you Sandy. You know, like the other girls are out. No, it's Sandra.
That's like my high school name is Sandy, but like
Yeah,
nobody calls me that anymore.
yeah, except me. I don't know why.
Except for you and except my
but
high school people.
exactly because we've been friends since high school.
That's right.
Why.
That's
It's
right. That's
okay.
why. Yeah.
Yeah. And so listen, I felt it was time for another episode of Girl Talk, and here's why, because we need
Okay.
to talk about our midlife bodies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like where do we begin? We should have had some drinks for this conversation.
I don't even know. It's like so
Okay.
much.
Yeah, and I have a question to get us started. I'm going to ask
Okay,
you
good. Okay,
I'm going
that's
to ask
good.
you the
Okay,
question and
good.
I'm going
Okay,
to
let me
answer.
get in there.
Yeah, hold on. Fasten your seatbelt and listen
Okay.
up. Okay. I'll ask you the question and I'll answer it so you have time to think about it. Okay?
Oh, that's helpful. Okay, you go. If you answer it first, then I
Okay.
won't have
So
to worry about getting it wrong.
yeah. So
Okay.
what's your greatest body challenge in midlife and how do you solve for that? So we'll just answer the first one first. Like what's the greatest body challenge in midlife? And from me personally, and
Yep.
from the people that I coach, like it comes up
Yep.
all the time with everybody guaranteed, it is the weight. Like you wake up one
Mhm,
morning and you're like,
mhm,
whoa,
mhm,
how did
mhm.
every inch of fat on my body migrate to my belly? Like,
Yep.
wow, how long was I
100%.
asleep for? How did that? Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think because I am at like the end of menopause. Like I'm in menopause now. I've been there for a while. And so sometimes I forget some of the things that happened early on. Do you know what I mean? Because it was
Yeah.
like a process.
Yes.
I remember in the beginning having like weird stuff happen. Like I was like, how come I have like I'm so weak all of a
Mm.
sudden? I used to be able to like do all this stuff, like ski and all this stuff, and all of a sudden something has happened and now I'm like totally, am I sick? What's going on here? And then I found out that like muscle weakness can be like a part of it, and like weird achiness, weird muscle cramping and
Yeah.
achiness. I was like, do I have like some disorder or something? Nope. Nope.
When
Just
you wake
part of
up in the morning,
perimenopause.
yeah, you wake up in the morning and you put your feet on the ground and you're like, ow, ooh, ah, ooh, like your first 30
Or it's like
steps.
weird cramps. I'm like, why do I have this weird muscle? Like, what is going on here? Or I go swimming and it's like my toes are cramping after like 45 minutes. What is that? That is
So,
weird. I don't understand that. That's weird. But that was apparently a thing. But yes,
that's
it was
part
like
of
I could watch my belly growing.
yeah.
Like it was like I'd look down and I could see it like,
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that like maybe nothing has changed. Like I didn't eat different, I didn't exercise, like nothing. But you know what it is? It's the big H, the hormones, because hormones rule everything in your body, right? And so when your hormones change, everything changes. Like when you go through puberty, your hormones change and then your body changes like a ton. Pregnancy, after delivery, hormones, body change. And it's the same thing. It's like this is a body change. So how did you solve or have you solved for it?
I don't even know. How did I solve?
Yeah. Like how did you come to terms with it?
Okay. So
Okay.
at first I was like, this is like probably before COVID or something like this. I tried like kind of dieting and eating better, and I did lose weight. But then when I stopped doing that, I gained the weight back plus a little extra because that's usually what happens. So
Mhm.
now I'm trying to be just cool with what I've got, and I'm trying to just eat like healthier. Like I eat like more fruits and vegetables, and I try to like increase my volume that way. And I think I'm still in the middle of completely trying to figure it out, but I think probably one of the biggest things is just being like, it is completely okay to like be like where I'm at.
Mm, okay.
I don't know. What do you?
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I love you so much, because you're like reading, like those are all the thoughts in my head right now. Is as a holistic nutrition, it's like, yeah, you can't diet because whatever you do to lose the weight is what you have to do forever to keep it off.
Forever.
So it's
And
not
then
a
COVID happened, and I'm just telling you right now, messed me up.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you and everybody else,
Yeah.
right? But if
Yeah.
you eat more clean foods, you're going to be fine. You just got to eat the fruits and vegetables. Literally, that's what it is. You need to eat more, because we're not counting calories, but they're more calorie, like they have more fiber, so they're less calorie dense. So you can eat more, feel satisfied. But in order to do that, you also have to get your starches in there. You need the potatoes, you need the rice, you need the oats, you need the pasta. Like those are what help you feel satisfied. You'll never eat a salad and be like, I am stuffed, I couldn't eat another bite. That doesn't happen. But when you have
It's
potatoes,
like a
like,
giant salad,
right?
like huge giant. You might be like, oh, I'm so full for like
No,
5
you'll
minutes.
get like
And I don't
tired
know
and
what
like
happens.
jaws too
You're like
sore
so
from
tired and
chewing.
you can't eat anymore. That
Oh,
probably
exactly.
is what happens actually.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. But you're so right. And then the second part is the critical part, is like, I'm going to be cool with it. Like I'm accepting of where my body is at right now. And it really is a mind mess sometimes when, like, as an
Yeah.
athletic person, not being able to do the stuff that you could do before. But that would mean like your brain is telling you there's something wrong with you, as opposed to like, this is the process of aging.
Fair enough.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what our body is designed to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And so, okay, now maybe I want to see if this happened to you too, but did your boobs get bigger?
Well, maybe when I gained weight, yeah.
Yeah, but you're like, you have to think about it, because I'm like, my boobs just got bigger. They
Well, I
just
mean,
got
they
bigger.
got bigger with like all of me like that.
Yeah, well, because
But
I like, you get kind of like puffy almost, right? Like that's kind of
mhm.
what happens, is you like just kind of get a little bit puffy, but my boobs got bigger and I'm like, what the heck happened? And
Yeah.
so the way I solve for this, and the same as like, clothes fit your body differently.
Yeah.
And one thing that makes a difference is us being stuck in our brains. Oh, I have to be in size 4 jeans, or I have to be like a 30
Yeah.
bra, because that's what I was like, you know what? I bought a bigger bra. You know what? I bought a bigger pair of jeans.
And it worked, is what you're
Yes.
saying. Then
Yeah.
that
And
was
so,
good.
yes, because we kind of get stuck in our thinking of, oh no, I have to fit into this size. Right. And even though
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
not saying you should get bigger and not lose weight. I'm saying you want to be healthy. You want to be healthy and you want to be good with where your body is at. And sometimes that means buying a bigger bra, because nothing I would do
Oh
would
yeah.
my boobs smaller. That's part of the hormonal
We
process.
must. We must. We must decrease our body.
I know, I know, I know these things will grow. The bigger the better, the tighter the better. Woo! That's that Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret reference.
That's right. You just gotta like reverse it or something. That's what I kind of think, like that's what I always think. Like you said, how we go. It's like we forget that we went through like in the teen years, we go through this whole like change in hormones, and it took a while. It's not like bam, overnight it's done, right? And
Yeah.
then it changes again. It's not like boom, oh, there you go, menopause. It's like this, right?
Yes, yeah, and then all of a sudden you notice all of it, right? Like, because
I
then
don't
it's
know if it was like, I feel like it was like slowly over time, I was noticing like odd things happening, and I was like,
Mhm.
what is going on? And I had no idea. Like, I'm like, this cannot be, there has to be something weird going on with me here. And then I started looking stuff up, and I was like, oh, these are all little things that can happen to people. And it kind of makes sense. And because a lot of them happened before I stopped menstruating, like in my head, I was like, oh, menopause symptoms happen. I don't know what I was thinking, but like at menopause, like after you stop menstruating, like, but they happen like way before that, like years before that. And so when all of this stuff was happening, I was like, what is going on with me? So I had to like
Yeah.
look all that stuff up. And I feel like people are talking about it way more now, but I don't think they did really before.
No, and that's what was coming in my brain as you were talking, is like, why don't we know this ahead of time? Like, why aren't we told this? Why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't we
Mhm,
sharing
mhm.
this with our friends and our sisters and our girlfriends, like all of that? Because there was a time in the not too distant past where your doctor would be like, girl, you're just crazy. And it usually would be like a male doctor that would say that
You're
because,
hysterical.
yeah,
Your
yeah, you're,
uterus is wandering around your body. Or so
yeah,
that's really long
because,
time ago, that part.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But, but remember though, that when you have these hormones coursing through your body, you can't smell them or taste them or see them. So you might think that you're crazy because you don't know the explanation for it.
Sure.
And your partner might also be like, what be going on? You're crazy because you're angry for no reason, right? Like hashtag rage for no reason.
Mhm.
But when we can understand that it's hormone related, then we can be kinder to ourselves. It's not us going crazy. And the more we talk about it, the more we realize that it's normal. This is how our body goes. This is what's naturally occurring in our body.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
in other cultures, like the Asian cultures, they don't experience, there is no menopause, like that doesn't exist. And that's mostly diet related, right? But they also call, like in classical Chinese medicine, the second spring. So it's the way the body changes, and it goes from the energy of reproduction to the energy of sharing your wisdom, to wisdom and then sharing your wisdom. So I love that thought.
Mhm.
That's much more graceful than,
I like
than
that.
the
That
way
does
you
sound
say it.
actually better, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because ours is like, fasten your seatbelt, girl. It's going to be a bumpy ride, right?
That's actually true.
Yes. And in different ways. Like your bumpy ride is going to be different than my bumpy ride, but we're both going to, experience some sort.
So if I was actually expecting a bumpy ride,
No, me neither. I
like
was,
even like the weight gain and everything, I wasn't thinking about, like, I didn't think that was part of it. I
no,
didn't know that was part of it,
no, of course not, because nobody
right?
was talking about it.
And now there's like research that says, like in women who are perimenopause, that there's like less fullness hormone and there's like more like hunger hormone and stuff. And so I think that research is just being done. And so we're just kind of like understanding all of it. And I don't know, I guess the way that like you said, the way that culturally we either don't talk about it or kind of conceptualize it, um, really changes kind of the expectations that people are going to have,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
I agree, because I
Yeah.
think if you go into it and you haven't talked about it, you don't know what's going on, and your body is changing and you're raging for no reason, like super angry for no reason, and you can't explain it, and you think it's you, and you're not getting enough sleep. So remember when you had your baby, and if you are deprived of your sleep, nothing is going to go well. And that also doubles your cortisol, which
Yeah.
means store fat, store fat, store
Yeah.
fat, right? Like
Yeah.
that's, and the hormones of, like you said, like the satiety and the hunger hormones, the ghrelin and the leptin, that's what they do. All of those are regulated by hormones. That's why
Yeah.
if
Those
we,
are hormones. Yeah.
yeah, those are the hormones that regulate that. And so if we can give our body its best chance by eating clean foods, those will balance each other out, because our bodies are adaptogens. Our bodies are trying to always be in balance. That's what they're designed to do. So when one hormone drops down, like when our estrogen drops down, right, the other hormones are trying to balance it all out so it can come back to the homeostasis, so that it can be back to balanced in a way that works for us, so it won't be as harsh or as uncomfortable or as unnerving or confusing for us. And that comes back to our nutrition. Like I feel like it all comes back to our nutrition, because that's how all of these functions in our body happen.
Fair enough.
Right?
And
Yeah.
I think that probably like how people, I guess, how people eat at different, they don't think to even kind of change how they're eating. Or maybe I've got friends who ate like really, really healthy even when they're eating really, really healthy, they still had issues and they didn't understand what was going on.
Mhm.
So I think that part of it is understanding and normalizing everything that's going on. And then probably part of it is, like you said, changing things up to try to adapt to what's going on in your body.
Yeah. So see, there's that word again, adapting, right? Like adapting. Because when you think about it, think about like as an athlete, okay, I can't do the things that I used to do. So am I going to compare myself to that? Or am I going to make changes? It's like, hey, what can I do? What else could I do
Yeah,
instead that I like instead of this old thing? You know,
totally.
yes. So instead of comparing ourselves to our old version of ourselves, which is never a win, like you're never going to be,
No.
like, no. And so you got to just start fresh. So you're not comparing yourself. Comparison is the thief of all joy, especially to your 20-year-old self, because you
I think
had
we
no.
need to compare ourselves to what we will be in 20 years.
Yes, right? Like,
Right?
and when you picture like where we at now, because we're 54 years old, and think of like Golden Girls, like,
I
come
know,
on,
right?
we are a new generation of,
That's true. That's
that,
100% true, right?
yes. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
anything is possible. But I think the big thing too is that mindset piece. It always comes down to the mindset.
Definitely, which is hard. That's a toughie.
Yeah, especially if you're not aware that that's what's going on.
Yeah, if you're not aware of what's going on. And like you said too, right? Like what is it? One of the biggest symptoms or most common symptoms in perimenopause is interrupted sleep, right? Difficulty sleeping. And then when you have difficulty sleeping, then if you don't have as much sleep, then your amygdala is more active. And so you're kind of like more easily stressed out or more easily anxious or more easily depressed or more easily like irritated, all of those things. And now you've got to like
It's a vicious circle.
adapt to what's going on, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
100%.
So I think that that
I
is
agree.
definitely like our takeaway. So is the because that's nature is adapting, right? It's totally adapting to your surroundings, which is
Mhm.
our body is our surroundings in this case that we're talking about. But when it comes to like midlife, I think like personally, that's just because of my background and I'm like obsessed nerd with when it comes to food and how your body does. I think nutrition is one of the best ways that we could possibly help our bodies through this. And then second is our sleep. I think sleep is totally overlooked and underrated in how it affects our day-to-day living and the processes of our hormones and how they function.
100%, which freaks people out, right? Because if they start having trouble sleeping
Mhm.
and they're like, uh-oh, and they start to like freak out about sleep and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not sleeping. Then when they start to go to sleep, they're just like more stressed about sleeping. And surprisingly, that actually like messes up your sleep.
Mm,
So
yeah,
worrying about your sleep,
yeah,
not helpful, apparently.
not good.
Not
Having
good.
about your sleep, about not sleeping, that's not
Yeah,
gonna work.
if you're not sleepy, you worry about it. It is not, it apparently doesn't make it easier for you to sleep. More stress hormones, high stress hormone, no sleep, no sleepy sleep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But those are the top two things that, can make the biggest difference in when you go through menopause. And I think like I would love to encourage people to talk about it, like find a friend, find one of their besties, like somebody else who could understand what they're talking about and just talk about it. Just getting it out to other people's ears, I think would make a big
I
difference
think
too.
that's huge, right?
Mm,
Being
yeah.
able to talk to somebody else and kind of, because what I found is when I started talking to people about what was going on with me, other people would be like, they hadn't said anything to you. They'd be like, oh my gosh, me too. But they hadn't said anything beforehand. And so
Yeah.
we kind of were probably all wandering around thinking, what is wrong with me? But not really talking about it. And
Yes.
so as soon as you talk to somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, me too, then you're like normalizing it more. Getting
Yeah.
to like talk about all the difficulties that are happening with you, but you're also realizing, oh, somebody else is going through this too. And then they realize that you're going that, oh, somebody else, and it becomes like this, you're kind of like making it more normal for everybody. Being
Mhm.
well, spreading the normalization amongst the people. So
Mhm.
now I just like am weird, right? Because if I am talking to a woman who's like around my age or a little bit younger and they're talking about something, I'm like, oh yeah. And I start babbling away about like probably way too much information
Yeah.
about what happened to me when I went through like perimenopause, right? But like seriously, I have not had anybody react badly. All of them are like, oh my gosh, yes, me
Yeah.
too.
I thought that was
So
only
why
me.
is that? So why is it that like so many people are like, oh my gosh, me too, and I didn't know that?
Well, it comes from the history of it not being okay, like being there's something
Mm,
wrong with you. Like it's not as opposed to like this is just a natural part of life. It's a progression of the human life cycle. That's what it is, right? Like that's how what our body is supposed to do. Oh, it was designed to create life, and now it's done that, and now it's designed to what? Share the wisdom, give back. Like your energy goes from that part into your heart. It actually goes from your reproductive organs back into your heart, the chi, which is your life force, which is your life energy. And then it's shared that way. And when you look at, like, girl, think about like when you look at the people, like the older women in your lives, they're
yeah,
so sharing, they're so community based, they're just loving
yeah.
to,
Oh my
if you
gosh.
ask them questions, they love to share and to help and to be a part of something. Like that's is that
Like
what that
some of them, I'm just saying.
yeah. And some of them you're like, okay, that's
And some
enough.
of them are not. That's cool
Some
too,
of
man.
them some of
Actually,
them
it's funny. You know, it's so funny because I was thinking about that. Like I know there's all this research about how young women, it's hard to keep them in sport, like teenage girls, like there's a certain age where you lose them out of sport. And so in like high school and stuff, there's like it's like the majority of sport is boys. And there's all these initiatives to try to get girls into sport. But if you go just like up into like middle age, it's like so many women in
Mhm.
sport and not as many men, right?
Yes, yes.
And what is that? Is that like building community? Is that like women are out there
Oh,
like
come on.
trying to build community that way? Like what's going on?
I know exactly what that is. That's because the kids are older and now I'm like, I have time on my hands
Renaissance.
and I give it back. Like that's what I do. I give back to the community. So because
Or like I need connection with people.
yes, my whole life was dedicated to raising humans. They've dumped me. They've broken up with me. They
They
don't
broke
need
up
me.
with you. Aw.
Totally. Yeah. And
No, they didn't.
in a really kind way. And
But in a
yeah,
really nice way. It's not me, it's you. No,
yeah.
it's not
It's
you,
not
it's me.
it's
It's not.
definitely you. And
It's
I'm out.
definitely you. And I'm out.
Yeah. But that's what happens. And so now we're like, because we're nurturers, we're givers, we're like, what do I do with all of this? And then we find the thing and we give back to the community or create a group or gather
Try to
with other like
connect.
yes, because it
Yeah,
is about connection. And so
which is
that's the
really
good part.
important.
Yes, because okay, you can maybe back me up on this is that
Or not.
or not, which is okay. That's okay. But human nature by design is built on connection and we've gotten away from that with social media and all the stuff that's happened over the past couple of years. So it's building community. Like I see the world becoming a better place by building communities, starting with our families and then our neighborhoods. And, like that's how we get back to fulfilled lives of together and being seen and heard is by building communities. What do you think? You agree?
Oh,
Because
there's like so much of that, right? I
Mhm.
think that like it's like um connection with others is actually a factor that is like one of the biggest predictors of like longevity and health, right?
Yeah,
On
yeah,
top of like exercise and all those kinds of things, but it actually has like a huge predictive value. So, and I think I s- I think you're right. I think it's almost like it's for a lot of us, it's almost like an instinct. Like we started out as maybe, like living in small groups in communities, maybe in caves or huts. And so there's maybe like a part of our brain that actually just is adapted to seeking out people and gathering with them.
yeah.
But because of that, there's also for a lot of us that if it goes like, a lot of us are kind of like shy about that, or we feel a little bit like anxious around people because we're afraid that if we go around people and we don't act the right way, we might get like kicked out of the community or the tribe, right? And
And
so
then
for
that would
some
be death,
people,
right? Like
and that
back in
would
the
be death back then. I mean,
yeah,
now there's like, grocery stores and stuff, and probably like you're actually probably totally fine.
you're gonna be
And the
okay.
community's weird even now too, because back then the community would be like 50, 100, 200 people. I don't know, whatever, right? Even we were
Yeah,
growing up, community would be whoever you could like talk to, maybe. Now
yeah,
community feels like it's like everybody in the world, because you connect via social media and like you could see things that are going on across the world. So it feels like, if you do something wrong, you're getting kicked out of the whole world or something. And somehow you have to connect with like everyone in the world, which is not true, but that's what it kind of oddly feels like.
yeah,
So I don't know. So that I think there's like a combination too, when people are doing a lot of their connection through social media or online, they may not have they may not have developed that comfort of connecting with people in real life.
yeah,
And so that
yeah,
shyness piece kind of takes over. And so
yeah,
they're afraid to kind of approach those group activities because they're afraid they might get kicked out of the tribe. But when they like, that's typically not what happens when you try to create connection with people. And if you do try to create connection with people and they kick you out of the tribe, they're bad people anyway. Go find new people.
yeah. That's not your tribe.
That's not
Like
your
you don't
people, man. Those
want
are not your
any.
people. If they're mean, like they need to bounce. So go
Yeah,
find new people.
yeah,
And so I think that it's a weird combination of, I think we do benefit so much from connection with other people, but for a lot of us, like something like, it's like over 60% of people will report that social anxiety has affected them in their life, like to a degree that it has actually like really affected them in their life at some point. That's
yeah,
like, that's a lot. That's like almost all of us, right? Like, it's
yeah,
most of
yeah,
us, right? So yeah, I think
yeah,
connection
yeah.
is super important. And if you want to tie it into like the body, well, you can get connection through going and doing physical activity with people,
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
right?
I joined the tennis club and I'm like, oh, I
Join the
get,
tennis club.
yeah,
Sometimes
100%.
I like, instead of going for like coffee with somebody, go for a like walk or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Nature. Yes. Yeah. But I
Mhm.
think the key here is like to sum it up is that you're not alone and let's talk about it because if you are telling me the weird things that are going on with your body and that, I'm probably going to say, yeah, I experienced that too and that's normal and you're not alone. You're not a
Totally.
crazy and it's part of the process.
Totally.
You're going to come through the other side and there's people that can help you like just by
100%.
listening. Yes.
Yeah. And
So
even if you're my friend or somebody I'm talking to and you tell me like there's something weird going on with you and I didn't go through the same thing, I'm probably not going to kick you out of the tribe, man. I'm going to
no.
listen.
Yeah.
And even that can be helpful.
Yes, just being heard. Yes, 1,000%. Because usually it's in our brains, like there's something wrong with me. And then of course, when you're thinking there's something wrong with you, you're not going to tell anybody. That's the shame
No.
part, right? The
Yeah.
secrecy and judgment. So it's like, no, it's
Yeah.
like never talk about it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we hope that us sharing today will encourage people to talk about it more or reach out for help in whatever you need to normalize what's going on for you in midlife because you're not crazy. You are a midlife woman going through it and you're going to be fine. You're going to make it through the other side. And then you're going to take all of this experience and knowledge that you've discovered while raising kids and that and create an amazing life for yourself. So you are just getting started, right?
Totally.
This is only
Totally.
the beginning. So
Yeah.
Sandra, thank you so much for having some girl talk with me today. I
Thank
love and
you, Heather.
appreciate you so
You are
much.
welcome. Thank you for the
Thank
time.
you. And friends out there, thank you for listening. Remember, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.